Okay, that's a couple minutes of being present. Good morning. So I have a viewer, a YouTuber that asked this question. From an early age, I have been interested in self-realization. From what I have read, they say that a teacher is necessary for a serious student trying to attain Satori. Do you agree with this? I have studied from books for years, but are they recommending a more one-on-one instruction? It's a very good question. So my answer could be both yes and no. Yes, for most of people, we need a teacher. No, for some small portion, some special cases you don't need. So it all depends your state of being or mind. A teacher is necessary for most of people because a teacher knows what to do, how to do, and what the quality of the students in terms of the, you know, mental state, even physical state, because the teacher has experienced all those. And a teacher, especially with a group of peers or students, that collective surroundings or atmosphere will help you more, especially for beginners. The routine, all the details, the preliminary preparation, the routines of like meditation or reading books or reciting mantras definitely will help, especially for the seekers who are in the cities. You know, in the cities, we have so many disturbance and distractions. That's why people went to mountains, temples, to temporarily separate from worldly life, to have a certain period of time to study, to practice, months, years, even 20 years, 30 years of practice. A teacher with peers with same interests or even desires to have this self-realization definitely will help everyone in the group, especially when the teacher is a realized one, awakened one. Of the teacher knows all the tricks and plays of the mind. So that's yes, we need a teacher for most of seekers. And the second answer, no, because imagine there's a serious student who dedicate his life like 1 hour or 2 hours a day to read books, to meditate, to listen to the YouTubes. Nowadays the internet is so advanced that you don't need to go anywhere. You can have access to lots of information, especially when you determined to focus on self-realization. Um, Also, in the library, we have books. In the markets, we have books. There's a lot of, how to say, helpful resources that we can access now, comparing to years ago, I mean, 20 or 30 years ago. And the thing is, it doesn't matter how many books you read, how many YouTube videos you have watched. The thing is how much you realize. Do you follow the teacher's instructions? Do you follow the instruction in the books or in the YouTubes? How much you realize? That's important. Even in the monks, in the temples, there are some people study all the sutras for many, many years. They recite mantras 1,000 times a day. They prostrate 100 times a day. They do all kinds of, you know, rites. You, but even that does not necessarily makes them too enlightened. No. Basically, if you really are serious, you will come to a point. Calm the mind is very, very important. So do you practice to calm the mind, still the mind? There's some cases or some students read a lot of books, but they cannot calm their mind. They're disturbed, distracted every day still. Even in the monks, I treated a monk, a nun, who is a student, in Vancouver, in a temple. She was very anxious. She cannot fall asleep because stress from the Buddhism study. So you see, even you are in a temple, you have stress from studying of the sutras. That's the opposite of the Buddha's teaching. So in rare cases, you don't need any teacher to be calm. If I again categorize or simplify all the spiritual awakening is three characters or three words. First, morality. You're a good person. You're doing good. You treat people well. You don't hurt. You don't lie. You don't cheat. You don't kill. You're a good person. Then, from good person to a wise person, there's a bridge. Meditation or concentration, calming the mind. That's the second step. Even in Christianity, a lot of traditions has technique to calm the mind. Calm the mind is necessary to become wise, to attain wisdom. Let use that word, attain wisdom. Then wisdom means you see the ultimate reality. You see whatever is. You don't, put your labels on all kinds of things. You don't label the reality anymore. One-on-one instruction could be very helpful, but you don't need like years of one-on-one instruction. Maybe you need a couple of times, couple of hours one-on-one instruction, especially when the teacher is an experienced one, fully awakened one. He knows your state of, being. If there's a path of awakening, then he or she will know what position or what state you're in that path of awakening. Uh, Actually, it's a pathless path. It's no steps. There's no steps of awakening. It's just a, but by words, it's better use some steps. It's a stepless realization. So in this perspective, Satori is unattainable. It's not a subject it's not an object you attain. No, to have. You we are already that. The whole process of awakening is remove what you're not. And Satori is just the beginning of awakening, a fleeting, a transient realization of reality, the ultimate reality. A transient meaning sooner or later you lose that clarity, you lose that stability. You fall into the old patterns of thinking, behavior, let's say the egoic patterns or personalized patterns. So I think I answered the question. So there's a very important term or phrase in this conversation. All spiritual awakening is to remove what you are not. That's my, stress. I mean, I want to be more focused on this sentence. The whole spiritual awakening is remove what you are not. And even this remove what you're not is not absolutely right, because what you're not is illusion. You don't need to remove it. You just see through. There's nothing to remove. So at this point, words are very, very powerless. It has to be your experience or your realization. So at the same time, I told when I answered this question, um, I said in the path awakening, there's a lot of tricks and traps, and we should be cautious. All the tricks and traps from the mind, from our mind, from the individual mind and the collective mind. We have to be cautious, especially when you get closer and closer. Let me use that. There's no distance actually. Get closer and closer to the point, to the destination. There's traps and tricks from our mind, individually and collectively. For example, in the temples, even in the temple, in the mountains, there's a monks, there's seekers who study the sutras or follow the teachers for many years. They may become very arrogant. It's like they think they have gained something that is so important, and they are more superior to others, other schools, other students, other seekers. You know, they have that arrogance. I study more than you. I realize more than you. That could be one big trap from the mind. And also, there's a misunderstanding. For example, in Tibetan Buddhism, you have to finish like preliminary practice, finish at least 30,000 prostrations. Okay, 30,000 prostrations. Head down, shoulders down, belly down. You, all your body's like on the ground, prostrate to Buddha. It's a very good practice, but when people finish 100,000 prostrations, they may, oh, I have done this 1,000 prostration, 100,000 prostrations. I should realize, I should have the self-realization now. No, it's not. It's just a preliminary. It just shows your respect and gratitude for the masters, for the Buddhas, and you want to prostrate to them, show your respect. There's a So that's what I say. The ultimate truth is not attainable. It, it's not doable. It's not something to be done. No. It's right here and now. It's always here and now, actually. It's never decrease, it's never increase. It's not pure, it's not impure. It's not simple, it's not complicated. It's not doing, and it's not non-doing. This thing is so hard to speak, so hard, so it's unspeakable. we try to speak it, we try to speak the unspeakable. It's a good try. But every word is a dissection of the totality. Make sense? Every ripple in the ocean is an individualized, localized expression of ocean. There's a milestone in the spiritual awakening. I think I talked about in the couple of maybe month before. There's a milestone in the past awakening is that you always can look inwardly to find your inner stillness. If you can, then you're safe. You kind of graduated. You don't need an outside teacher anymore because that inner stillness is your teacher. You can back to the essence of who you are. That's your teacher. There's inner teacher. All the teachers' books, YouTube contents, instead of including this conversation, is an exterior pointer, help you to pointing back to your source and my source and their source are same source, pure consciousness or awareness. If you can always find or reconnect to the inner stillness or pure consciousness, which is always there all the time, then you're safe, you're graduated, you can learn by yourself. And the rest path of awakening until you get, say, fully enlightenment. That's a milestone. No matter what the external surrounding is. 定. In Chinese, we say 定, stillness. So then I don't know if you know Dr. Angela D. Let's say anesthesiast biologist who realized awakening 20 years ago. He mentioned that going back to your thoughts, their region, and all what they are made of, seeing that they are like vapor clouds. Yes, it can be a methodology that can help us to be the shift in our identity. We talk about attention and other topics that we cover. Um, I will say he's right. Our thoughts, emotions, body sensations, everything externally and internally are like vapor clouds, like clouds floating in the sky of awareness, comes and go, while the sky itself stays still. So the whole process is you don't identify with the clouds. So you don't identify with the thoughts, body sensations, external surroundings, images, sounds, and so on. The whole process is to disidentify. So disidentify with the contents of the awareness, but identify with the awareness itself. And we have to be cautious here. First, there's a step of separation. Objects and subjects, contents and awareness. It seems that like there's a separation first. Then when you can stabilize this separation between the objects and the subject, between the contents and awareness, gradually you realize there's a union now. There's a union. The second step will be the union between the object and subject, between the contents and awareness itself. You will notice they are one. The contents, the sky, the clouds in the sky is the manifestation of sky itself. Make sense? The contents in your awareness is the manifestation of the awareness. So there's no difference. Ultimately, there's just one thing. This whole thing is one thing in different scales, in different forms, names, in different formless, shapeless. This is one thing. And when the whole thing is one thing, then you can access to it from any points. Like all the roads leads to Rome. If Rome is the destination, and you can access it from any points of space and time. You can access to from any forms and names. That's basically God means omnipresent, right? God resides in every form and names, in the past, in the present, and in the future. I often come back to my thoughts and find that they evaporate when look at them. A bit like what Ramana Maharshi said, looking for the eye and it will disappear. Yes, because all contents in your awareness has no self, has no permanent existence. It has to depend on something else, interbeing, as I said last time, a couple of times ago. Interexistence. All the phenomena world has to be interbe or interexist with everything else. The magic matrix of the cosmos. But there's only one thing is independent from all the interbeing. That's you. When I say you, it's not your body mind. Your body mind comes and go. Dr. D agrees with that everything is made of the same material. He has the same speech. Yes, that makes sense to me. Yes, if you like, I have a patient, he's a carpenter, he's interested in awakening. So I just ask him, you're a carpenter, you like to, wood crafts. So when you enter a room, you see tables, you chairs, walls, you know, floors and so on, all in different shapes of what? He say, oh, tables, chairs, walls, floors. They're all made of wood. Even they have different forms and names. And I ask him to expand or extend this perception to everything else. Actually, you're right. Everything else in the cosmos is made of one thing. I just want to bring that. So for carpenter, that's a very easy to understandable, right? Understand. So for seeker, we should find that universal material from which all forms and names are made of. So I like to end this session in my favorite quote: "The whole cosmos is all you, yet only you." See you next time.